All right, that should be fine for sound. Let me see. It looks like got everything connected here. Go into studio mode. Turn on my streaming. Yeah, there we go. You guys should be able to see me here. Looks like I can see you guys on both sides over there. All right. So what are we working on today? Obviously, I got my little penguin on my shirt. You guys can see him. I've been working a lot, so I've been super busy. Came back from vacation, and then I was in it. And what are we doing around here, right? We're doing a lot of Linux. We're doing some high performance compute stuff today in my lab. We're going to simulate some connection stuff. That's going to look kind of like what I'm building for a customer, in fact. So I'm trying to figure some things out that I don't know all the component pieces for. Like you can understand the concepts of a thing, but the certain ways that certain things have been implemented, you have to go look up or figure out. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of that. You guys are welcome to hang out with me as I kind of do it. So let's say just HPC notes or Prolog lab. We need to get open on demand running, right? Then we need to get a couple of nodes as set up a couple of nodes as our compute backend. I don't really care where I get those from. They could be any nodes, I guess, in my cluster, right? But they're going to be our compute backend. And then this is just my loose, like I'm just kind of typing some stuff up for myself to kind of, and then the three, so the three main apps that I need configured are RStudio, Jupyter Notebooks, and MATLAB. Yeah. So those are the three main apps that I'm going to be doing as like my back end. So I need to get Open On Demand up and running on the box. I've built that a few times for customers, but I'm not always the guy who does all the configs on it. So that's kind of where my role has taken me now. I think you guys that have been around know that I kind of get dropped into a lot of different scenarios, mostly focusing on security, and I've already hardened all this, but now I'm opening up the application to do some stuff. So we're going to get this stuff. We're actually doing some work today, even though it's just in the home lab and just for fun. It's still going to be some real. I'm still getting pinged from work right now as I'm talking to you guys, but because they already have licenses for MATLAB, and this is the customer for that, so I could do Octave. In fact, for people or Octave, for people that are wondering, right? So Open On Demand, if you guys haven't seen it, is a pretty interesting little tool. I'm going to pull this out so that it doesn't rotate with the rest of those. For people that haven't seen it before, let me kind of show you guys, give you a little rundown on what this tool does. When you have Open On Demand on your system, you basically just turn it on. It'll work in the browser. And then what we do is we start connecting it to back-end parts of your cluster to run, in our case, Slurm jobs. But it could be Platform LSF, which is, Platform LSF. What's that other big one? Uses all the B commands. I should know this because Noah uses it. Whatever that other tool is. I'm going to think about it here in a little bit. But the point is you can give a front end. Open On Demand gives a front end to your high performance compute cluster or any resources. It doesn't even have to be. I'm going to be doing it on a smaller cluster, and it's going to look kind of high performance compute ish. But these are the software that work with it on the back end. MATLAB built in, as far as passing through. People use it quite a bit for any of these other types of tools. And then what we're going to use, there's Jupyter, right? So here's the website, and then here's kind of how you would set it up. There's some configurations and stuff that we can do in there. And then how we administer Open On Demand, right? Like how we're going to turn it on and actually get it going on our system. So since we're going to do that, they have containerized versions that we can download and try, Vagrant or Docker, or we can just configure it as a full tool. Now, one of the limitations of this tool is that, and I remember when I was setting this up before, is it requires quite a bit of RAM. I think it's like 60, no, it's not 64. I think it's 32 gigs of RAM. So there's quite a bit of base. Where's it at? Hardware requirements right here. VMs on that run on demand have 16 cores and 64 gigs of RAM. According to our gangly metrics, this is overpowered for our normal. We average 150 megs per pun. So pun is each of the individual instances of an application running. And that kind of stuff. Hey, Robodom, how's it going? We are not working super hard, but I am kind of doing a little bit of build out of a thing. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So installation, yep, for all these different types. You can put it directly on the system that you need. We are going to do it in we can build it from source as well if we want. We are going to run it in a application here. So one of my boxes doesn't do much. I want to say it's this one. Nope. Where's he at? Ah, here's the one running Llama. And Llama is a big old server, right? He's got multiple CPUs. In fact, he's got 32 CPUs. And I think he's got, somewhere in the many gigs of RAM. But we're going to go ahead and turn Llama off for now because we're not doing anything with Llama. Yep, so we'll turn him off. And we will probably stand up a new Base Rocky image for him, like Base Rocky node for him. That's where we're going to kind of go. Robodom, I did have a lot of fun on the Mexico trip. We went down to Chichen Itza. We went to, we wrestled all over the place. That was pretty good. And it was good. It was a good little trip overall. So, yeah. I just realized something. I do not have anything running because I've been connected. I've been off in a different connection, so let's get ourselves back connected over here, back in the home lab environment. Go look at our host file in the environment, and we just turned off the Llama box. The Llama box sitting in here somewhere. Where's he at? Yeah, Llama. Oh, Llama. So what we need to do is find something we're not using, right? So we just need something out in a range that we're not using, and probably one of the easiest ways to do that will be to go, add something in. Probably like here. After ZoneMinder. Call this open. Right, but it's all got to be one word. So we'll call them like this, and then we'll call them OOD and open on demand as well. I don't really like that, so maybe we'll just do OOD and open on demand. That'll be his name. We'll go through that in our little notes. So we got it, because I like to know what I'm doing. So let's go build this out real quick. Stand up Base Rocky. I'm building from the Base Rocky image. We're going to call him open. Doesn't matter if he's up or lowercase out here. We're going to leave that empty. We'll go ahead and assign him on this home server. We are going to give him 16 cores, and we are going to give him as much as we can. Let's say 32 gigs of RAM. I think we'll have enough to run him at least. Lab storage, 80 gigs should be fine. Yeah. That should be enough to start him up. So let's get this node going, and then we will we'll just kind of build them out and see what I can get going on here as far as that goes. Other than that, I've been just super busy, and you know, I try to tell you guys a lot about the Professional Linux Users Group. That's a place where you guys can go and hang out. That's much more persistent than us hanging out here, because obviously I try to get here as much as I can, but you guys are always welcome to go hang out down in the group. We're almost at 4,100 people, so that's kind of cool. If you know, want to hang out with other people talking about the same kind of stuff you are, that's kind of the place to go. Robodom, it's getting pretty wild down there. I mean, not that there's that many people talking all the time, but we have a pretty good amount of talking. And I think that a lot of people have been talking about starting up a new version of the or the Linux administration course. So a lot of people are talking about getting back into this. So as more people keep showing up, they keep hopping in there. We're in week 14 of that this week. So I think this next week will start week 15. And then the last week will be all troubleshooting and stuff. So hopefully that's a good little thing for everybody. Quartz, I think it's going good. I'm just working through some other stuff. It looks like I'm getting messages on Slack. Remember I was telling you guys I was literally working right up until this. Let's see what I got on Slack here. Okay. So, Open OnDemand, up, running. Let's go get in there. We have to do a little bit at the console, guys. The reason we have to start at the console is because I don't have any configurations on it yet. We just set it up as this basic machine. So, see if we can get in there real quick. Once we have access to it, see if we can get there. And is that our password for the lab? Maybe. Maybe I know the password. Maybe? I don't know the password. Uh-oh. That's not good. We'll see. Give it a second here. If it's not that one, it should be this one. Ah, shoot, I have no idea. Oh, this is pretty standard for me to forget something that I did years ago. Maybe not years ago, over a year ago though. I only have a few default lab passwords. On the plus side, though, I do have a way to find it if I really had to, and I do have keys into it. It's just I don't want to go find it over the DHCP. So it probably came up, and it probably got a DHCP address on my network. So we can find it. We can go find its MAC. Its MAC is right here, right? And then if it's talked on the network, right? Like so. If it's talked to anything on the network, I should be able to do an ARP. Like look for AE and see if no, he's not in there. He hasn't. This one hasn't talked to AE here. The AE over here doesn't matter, right? No, I can get in here. Hold on. What is his? What password would I use for this? I literally only have a few passwords I use for default terminals typically. So my cap locks isn't on. That's weird. Super weird that my yeah, it'll only work if it's been talked to. Actually, we could ping sweep real quick. But because it should be, let's see what nmap. Is that right? I'll just hit them all real quick and then get all the stuff. That might work. Just only take a second. Yeah, AE39. But I mean, I should be able to. What I've been thinking, putting some weird password on here. You know? Maybe with my hardened image I have my other user. Nope. Login should be root. Yeah. I just haven't been in this image for a while. Is it that one? No. Oh, that's a hassle. Literally don't remember what we set the base Rocky Kubernetes one to. I know I hardened it, so it has to be a longer image or a longer password. Nope, no idea. No idea. I don't know. All right, well. Alternatively, we could just use the llama box for it, because the llama box is pretty beefy too. Oh, hold on. I gotta turn him off because he's too beefy. Too beefy to have them both on at the same time. I'll just use the llama box for it. Screw it. Bypass the problem, I guess. We'll just have to remember we're using the llama box. Where's he at, this guy? 182. Screw it. There we go. Bypass the problem. Well, it doesn't solve the problem, but I can always just rebuild that image later. It's not that big a deal. All right, let's start up llama. Let's wait till llama comes up, and then we'll go through and mess around and get our open on-demand stuff going. While we're waiting for that, I might pull this up over here. So we got open on-demand. Let's go look at the installation stuff, right? How do we get this on here, right? So if we're using Red Hat Rocky Alma, right, then it's going to be something along these lines. We're going to add this. Where are we at here? Okay. Dependencies. Make sure we have all the dependencies that we need. We'll need the EPEL release. And oh yeah, it uses Ruby quite a bit inside of it for some of its configuration scripts. I was seeing that earlier. Yeah, morning after a monster. Sure. Yep. Let's just get this up and running real quick. What's going on here? This thing's taking its time. Come on, llama. You can do it. All right, there we go. Llama should be up here shortly. Well, that box was very secure. We couldn't even get in ourselves, even with whatever passwords I thought it was. Let's see what llama is. Pretty sure it's a, yeah, it's a Rocky Linux. All right, so let's go through the steps here. So if these steps are good, which I think they should be, it says that all we gotta do is a DNF config manager, set enabled CRB. Just turn that on, whatever that is. DNF install EPEL release. If we don't have that, we'll definitely need to get that on there. So extra packages for Enterprise Linux, all the fun stuff that's not part of the base image. So get that going. And then we're gonna, we'll get those. And one thing I like to do as I'm doing this, even though it's just for my home lab, and even though this isn't something my customer needs right now, so I might put something like this right here and say setup notes. You know, these are our setup notes, right? So then I know like generally where we were, and then if I have to change anything, like if anything doesn't work directly like they say, then maybe I go throw those, you know, those differences in there. Oh no. DNF, enable. Yes. Okay. We're gonna have to install this guy. Then DNF install open on demand. Good enough for government work. Yep. Works for me. It's gonna bug me. I'm gonna be in here later trying that stupid password because it can only be one of a few things. I mean, I don't have. But I do want this in my home lab to be able to build this out because I've had more. I've done this twice now in the last year with customers where they need open on demand type services. So whether I'm the guy who's doing it or not, yeah, make sure cap locks is engaged. Yeah, for some reason this is actually interesting. I haven't seen this before. Now my cap locks is working. When I was in there, it was not turning on or off on my system. So that's kind of an interesting behavior when I was in this terminal, when I was in this console. Cap locks does not work when this is the focus. So I have no idea if it's on or not. There we go. Yeah, that's the password I thought it was, and that should have been the password that the other one's based on. So I don't know why that other one's not working, but all right, we'll let these things download for a little bit. We kind of hang out. Yeah, I haven't been on much. I was on, I want to say like Thursday or Friday. I was on for a little bit, and then Sunday we did some labs. You know, popped some lab stuff in, and then I haven't even been around my computer. So system CTL status HPD. It's dead, right? It's off. And it is disabled, so we're going to have to enable it. We could do that in one command, actually, if we want to. Let's do a couple of other things. For now, we see that Llama's on, so we might want to turn Llama off. Not that it's really doing anything. Although it is funny, all of our commands for feeding into Llama would well, no, they wouldn't come all the way through to Llama right now because I don't have the listener running on hostbox. But they would still be feeding into my system if they needed, you know, if people were asking questions. But anyways, let's system CTL enable HTTP now, right? So that should do the symlink and turning it on in one command. So you can do that as opposed to start and then enabled as two separate commands. You can do it in one command if you want to. But let's see if this starts up correctly. So system CTL status. So sorry, we got that running. We just looked here, ss-ntulp again. And now we've got this other listener on 80 and 443. So So we've got something listening on this box. And he is 192.168.182. So I should be able to come right here, pop that in here. Welcome to Open OnDemand. All right, so in our system, we've got Open OnDemand on. It says, however, you have to configure authentication for this Apache instance. See the authentication documentation for all the available options. So before they let you run this or even get past that, you have to do some type of authentication. You can either use some kind of user mapping or that kind of stuff. I already have that set up in my customers, so mine's going to be slightly different. Also, who's messaging me? Hold on, I'm getting pinged over here. Oh shoot. Alright, got a new lab. Oh, by the way, it might get loud downstairs, guys. The wife has a bunch of girls from a like youth activity over here, so it's one of the reasons I'm hanging out upstairs in my little hiding away thing. All right, we could do either. Let's see our options. We could use any of these ones here. We could use KeyCloak if we want. Use OpenID Connect. We should be able to. Oh wow, there's a weird, was that like an Amber Alert that just came out? All right, how do we want to set this up? Hold on here. All right. Oh, this is also looping. Oh, I gotta turn that off. We gotta stop the rotation. I was wondering why it kept jumping around. See what our next thing is. So we can connect and set up a bunch of users if we want. Or if we have a file user for mapping, we could use that. Or if we had a script, probably don't want that. Princess logout. Set up a default logout page. Okay. KeyCloak's pretty common. We do have KeyCloak in the environment too if we want to use that. But it's kind of a hassle to set that up. Just configure that. Let's see if we have simpler option for configuring this. We don't need to use LDAP, although we do have LDAP if we want it in the environment. I'm just looking for if there's just a quick setup for this. Shibboleth if we want to connect off somewhere. Any of these identity providers, right? We don't need that. And I don't have that in the home lab. So Kaz's. Man, their configuration is still talking about rel 7, so that doesn't bode well for this. We don't need to set up KeyCloak for this. Hmm. Hmm. All right, might need to think about that for a little bit. If we want to keep working on that or just go do something more fun. Because, you know, obviously. What was that? Yeah. We've got them up and running, but then we have to go and get something else connected for the rest of this. Let me see. Let me check one other place. There's no IDC, but what are they talking about? Other insecure options. All right. Questions on these will be linked back to this page. That's funny. So if you ask them a question about, they'll link it back here. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's just seems like too much work right now. I've literally been racking my brain all day configuring this other stuff. Alright, we might hold off on that then. What we could do... what do we got going on here? Let's get our lab up. What's going on in the lab over here? Turn this thing back on. I think I can rotate again. Let's see what else we got going on in the home lab here. Do a couple of things here. Let's check to see if we can get into all of our nodes. That's important. Make sure all of our nodes are up for the user. No, Rocky 15's down. Hammer 25 will be down as well. Yeah. Rocky 15's down. Let's get that node back up for people. For our users. Right, because we got users we got to keep things running for. It's a console on him. So yeah, he's out of memory. That happens. That happens often when you're doing RAM FS. So when you run temp FS and it takes a percentage of your running RAM to use as a back-end disk, it's very easy to fill that up. So those guys crash pretty regularly. We'll watch him boot up. We'll see him come up and keep an eye on, check the lab. I haven't looked at the lab for a little bit, so gotta make sure the lab's good, doing all right. Looks like all of our storage is doing okay. Other than that, I know some of the guys in the server were working on getting jobs. Austin, hopefully this stuff's good for you. Hopefully there's stuff that's somewhat useful and you guys can ask questions about stuff that you're interested in knowing more about. And if I know a way to do it, I will show you. And if I don't know how to do it, I can at least show you where I referenced it from, because I do try to keep track of that. But yeah, I'm being very lazy right now, because like I looked at all that and I'm like, okay, I got to set up all this config stuff, but this isn't even where I was. Like what I'm working on at work is much further down the line. I'm actually at work. I'm on this step here, which is getting the 3 main apps running, and I have them mostly configured right now. I just have to get them connected into the back end properly. So I don't want to go all the way back right now. I'm kind of being lazy. So just watch this node boot up, make sure that our werewolf configuration's working, make sure that the general cluster's working, and then maybe we'll look at some other stuff. There's plenty of stuff to do. So other stuff I had to do, I had thought about building out some labs today while we were kind of hanging out. Yeah, Austin, I try to be at least busy with something, but yeah, I definitely get pretty lazy. But I was on a call for like 4 hours, pretty intensive, with one of our other engineers, and he and I were like digging in on this stuff. So I don't mind being a little lazy now. This box is booting up. He found out that he's Rocky 15, so our deployer is working correctly still. Everything back in Werewolf is configuring and doing the things that it needs to do, so that's pretty good. We're going to call this probably pretty healthy when he comes up. We do have some maintenance to do in the home lab eventually, where the next round of our security engineering course and the next round of our admin course, we're going to strip this down, and we're only going to have Rocky 1 through 5, and then we're going to have Hammer 1 through 5. So we're going to have less servers, but a more streamlined way for people to log in. And what that'll do is that'll give us the ability to take Rocky 6 through 19 and delete them and use different resources or build different types of configuration nodes in the Werewolf environment. So we're going to do that in the future. We have all this extra capacity and not really a lot of people are using it. So we're going to take it back and give more of the environment to some of this other stuff that we're working on. I'll get OnDemand working, and I know some of the guys have been interested in doing some of the research stuff and messing around with that. We still need to do lab stuff, but I still need people doing admin work so that they can feel like they're doing admin stuff, but we can also use some of our additional compute to be, amateur research scientists, right? We don't have to be all just admin stuff. We can do data stuff. We can mess around with all this other stuff. Robodom, yeah, it's all in the personal home lab, yeah. I got a little half rack in the other room that does all this stuff. So, yeah, you've seen a lot of my stuff, Robodom. I think you guys have even seen how much I have it like dusty in there. I need to go dust it all and hit it with some, because the fans are getting all dusty and stuff. So I need to do that. I need to do like a spring cleaning on it, even though we're in the middle of summer now. So, oh, and we know it's summer here in Phoenix. It's only barely been getting to 100 the last few days, but it was up at like 119 the other day, so that was kind of wild. Hey, Enzo, how's it going? Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We're just kind of, we're working in the lab. I was doing a little HPC stuff, and then I hit a wall, and I decided to just kind of work on other crap. So we're cleaning the lab up. Home lab looks good. Let's make sure that 15 comes back up. We should see all green except for Hammer, which is not going to be good. Some of you guys know the next course we're going to put out. So we have these courses that are free. The sysadmin course, and then also the security engineering course. Those are free courses. You guys can go do. The books are free right there. You go steal the book and run off like a little cartoon villain if you want. I don't care. But here's the books, right? These are free, and you guys can use those. But anyways, the next course that we're going to do is going to be the automation course. So I was just deconflicting some automation stuff in Ansible today over at work. We had some changes made, and then we had some rollback configurations that we had to do, because while we're using Git, there's two philosophical differences within our team about how Git should be run, and it's not it's not been good for the overall. It's not been good in the net effect of our environment. So people have been arguing a lot about the two philosophies of how you should use Git, and it's been causing some problems. So I was thinking about deconflicting it a couple of different ways, and we'll kind of see. Yeah, Robdom, you'll find that that's true, and also sometimes people will come in with a lot of great new ideas, and I'm not saying anybody's ideas on this are bad. I think both of them have valid points in what they're talking about. It's just that there is a certain aspect of our project where the project was worked really hard for the first 5 years, and now we're on the back end of it. It is not in a do new deployments and do all this custom new stuff right now. It's kind of in the we're on the backside of that technology curve, and it's just kind of coasting it down to the end. That's kind of where we're at in our project life cycle, if you will. This data center cluster that we're on is going to live as long as it lives, and then these new ones are going to be built up to take the load in the future from for the weather and those kind of things that we do with this cluster. So because of that, I see where the one person's coming from, where it's like, well, we need to do this new and modern, and everything should be idempotent and everything should run. But on the other side of it, like, we've got this old engine that works still. Do we really want to trade it out right at the end with all the work that's going to entail right before the project's over? I mean, we only got a few more years on the project before this new one's going to come in and kind of take over. So I don't know. Anyways, it's interesting that people want to work through those things and figure those things out and stuff. So, all right, we need to do something. We need to do something in the lab, right? What we could do is we could build another lab out inside of Killer Coda if we wanted. And that would look something like this. We'd go find something that, go find something that's interesting inside of, it's annoying, inside of here. And go push out some new lab doing some thing probably over in Ansible. Or we could just sit here and talk about, I don't know, whatever people are interested in. I don't really have too much of a interest in that. Although, I will say it's kind of been interesting watching kind of, there's been a lot of hit pieces on one of the kind of popular streamers out there right now. Give me a second real quick. I gotta go grab some water. 1 second, I'll be right back. I got water right here. I'm not going far. Not to get too much into the gossip stuff, but man, I don't know if you guys have seen all that pirate stuff going around. That's kind of wild. There's a lot of like, I mean, like I've seen some pretty bad stuff on the internet as far as like people going hard in on somebody, but there's been a lot of it towards him on YouTube, so kind of interesting. Hey Root Guy, how's it going? We are, yeah, this minute, there's probably stuff going on, yeah, this whole time, but Jones, what are you doing? That's your new job. Your standards are a bit all over the place. Documentation's outdated. Yeah, you should go. Well, technically, yeah. So fighting the architecture team, you got to remember they're not people. No, I'm just kidding. What I would tell you, one of the ways that I've always endeared myself to teams and managers and stuff is when I'm kind of sitting around working on stuff, I'm always updating documentation from like the start. Even though like I'm a more senior. I don't really care what my title is, but it's technically like principal. I am always updating documentation when I get started somewhere. So then when people are looking at stuff and like, is Scott really doing anything? You know, Scott's kind of, they just start seeing my name all over everything. And they're like, oh, I guess Scott did that. And Scott, it's not that I necessarily did stuff. I'm always updating documentation. And it's kind of like, that thing where you just scratch your own itch, or you're tired of seeing the wrong thing being presented, and you're always having to go look at something else, so you just fix it. Because I don't want to. I'm not going to walk by like a piece of trash in a data center and not pick it up. You know, like it's the same kind of thing. And mainly because I'm the guy who's going to see it later, and I'm going to be the one that gets pissed off by it anyway. So, you know, I might as well just pick it up and go. I'm not going to go like try to find out who dropped it unless it's happening like every day or something. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have. I guess my plan today was do all that open on-demand stuff, but I forgot there was that little hurdle to jump over if I need to set up the key. I do have Keycloak in my home environment, though. I'm pretty sure we set it up in the security engineering course. So where is he at? I'm positive I have Keycloak in here. Where is he though? You guys see him? I don't see him. We definitely set that damn thing up. Yeah, I don't see him. I know we definitely did it, though. I just don't. Ah, I do have something to work on. I need to update my AWX is a painfully old version of AWX. In fact, I get made fun of it pretty often. by you guys. In fact, if I showed you right now, you'd probably all start making fun of me. I want to say I'm like on AWX 9, and some of you are going to be like, aren't they up on like 29? Yes, yes. My AWX is quite old. In fact, my AWX, I'll show you guys something. This is funny. This is how old my AWX is. Yeah, so if I do a Docker PS, the old AWX back when it was still, you know, upstream of Tower before it became Ansible Automation Platform, used to get deployed with multiple different Docker images. So you had to have the Memcache Postgres. So there's two different databases. One is the actual database for when it goes down and comes up, and the other one is more of like just a local cache, right? And then you had to have RabbitMQ to pass messages, and then you have all your task stuff kicked off from here and all your AWX web stuff over here. So it was multiple different images to run it. And yeah, if we went over to their GitHub, I think they're up on like 29 or 30 now. So yeah, it's I pulled it 5 years ago, so it's that old. But I just run it like AWX AWX type tasks out of it. So if any of you are wondering, that's the orchestrator for Ansible. That's all that is. There's nothing special going on there, but yeah, so I had a plan. And Zubair with the Prime, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Let's go look at something else here. Oh, well, we have that to do too. Oh, we have too many things to do, guys. Oh, Where My Teeth's back. How's it going, man? We are, I don't want to say searching for something to do. I'm just not working super hard right now. And Robdom resubscribed. Robdom's been with me probably not quite the longest of anybody, but I think Robodom's been around for most of the time I've been streaming. So the Gear and GCP study group I'm in is finally using Killer Code. I'm so stoked trying to get some of them over to Prolog. Nice. Yeah, Quartz, I mean, people are welcome. Like we focus on Linux, but we do any other things that we can to get people into the jobs. Where are my teeth? You're going back to Java. Okay. Like when you say Java, you mean like Java, not some other, you know, JavaScript or one of these other things that people sometimes say. You're doing straight up Java. Oracle Java, yep. Formerly Sun. Yep. I was working directly on that, but I was working with Sun when they got bought by Oracle, so I watched a lot of that happen. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Jones said, my plan while I work, I'll identify the points of operational pain. Poop. I like that. And then present the shit list to management and the architects. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Show where things are having problems, and then figure out how to wear those things down so there's less friction in the organization. Yeah, I mean, you're just going to find that the more you fix that kind of stuff, the more that, just the more that you're going to be appreciated by the organization, I think. So that'll be good. Yeah, Quartz, you know, it's funny. I actually do have dungeoning. I think it's like dungeoning.org or something. I have something like that where it's like, because we do kind of exist in a dungeon. But yeah, I mean, Linux engineers more and more the last few years have been pulled out of our server rooms and closets and that kind of stuff and made to interact with the organization. Yeah, did you guys ever see that? Quartz, you might remember this. I don't know, some of you guys might, but back, I want to say the picture circulated around like 2013 or so, but it showed like the side of the guy's chair, and it was all just like Cheetos from like all the times he had just wiped his hand on the side of his chair. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. That's just pretty brutal. But what we could do, I hadn't even contemplated this. This might be a good thing. We have P01 Jump 02 ready. So we actually have, even before we go jumping into all this stuff, let's go look at, what are we doing in here? We were messing around too much. I know I could have just grep jump, but let's SSH into P01 jump 02, and let's see. Oh, I haven't even passed keys over there. So apparently I stood this node up and I haven't done anything with it yet. Oh god, here we go again. I don't know the password. I think I know the password. Oh gosh. Oh no, you know what? Hold on. And actually it should be this. Because it should be my actual user, yeah. Alright. Should be, yeah. So let's do a couple of things with this node. P01 Jump 01 is my normal jump box. You guys always see me using him. He also happens to be the box that everybody connects in through. But, as some of you know, if you've tried to hand me newer SSH keys, like your ED, elliptical, curve, diffie, helmets, whatever, ECDSA or HRA or whatever the hell that crap is, you can't give me those newer keys because I'm on a very old box. My P01 Jump 01 is desperately in need of being deprecated out and gone from my system. So, let's update this system real quick. Let's see what needs to be updated. All right, so we need kernels and we have all this other stuff. Let's update this system. And then, yeah, he's all the way back. My other system's all the way back on CentOS 7, so it doesn't get patched anymore. So I need to... God, how long's that box been running our stuff? Probably close to 8 years now. So, yeah, he's tired. He wants to go and do whatever else. He wants to go off to Bit Heaven or wherever servers go when they're all done. But let's patch this one up. Let's make sure a couple of things are on because we're going to need some things in the right places and we're going to need some things configured for him. We're going to need to make some users and probably move some passwords over. And we really could connect him up to like an Active Directory type LDAP solution. That would be kind of good. Anyways, there's a lot of things we can do. A lot of things we can do with this server. So, since we can get in them. But you noticed he could not be connected into his root, which is the #1 rule for me of Bastion systems. Like, if a system is going to be exposed, you should not allow privilege escalation in it. Privileged user logins. You have to come in and then escalate up if you have that permission. But, yeah. So, this is what we're doing. Robodom's giving you guys the Discord link over on the YouTube side of things. Again, lots of stuff going on. And oh, by the way, I need to start kind of showing this a little bit. We are pretty close to all these events that are coming up. So let me show you guys some of the events that we got coming up here while we're waiting for that server to kind of patch itself out a little bit. I'll just leave this over here so you can patch. We've always got the study group, so it looks like there's a study group tonight. I think that starts in... Oh, maybe that's already going. I don't know if people actually showed up for that, but that looks like that was today. And then there's a Bash study group on Saturdays. Although they missed last Saturday, that doesn't mean that they're not going to do it again in the future. You guys can just sign up for these. They're free. It doesn't cost you anything, and maybe you might go in there and learn something. I know Kolkus has been showing you guys a lot of stuff around getting into Bash and being better at kind of how we interact with Linux, which Bash is like the way that you're going to do all of your things, right? So you get into Linux, you interact with Linux with Bash. You can also do all kinds of programming and all these other things, but Bash in of in itself is the way that we interact with Linux, so it's kind of a thing you need to know. Sending Grounds is here. How's it going? I'm just showing them around what we got coming up. Then we got our Linux sysadmin course. Again, that's on Saturdays. That's 3 p.m. my time. If you're in our Discord, you'll see it in your time. Discord always has little things. And then we got a conference coming up. So in August, we will be turning 11 as a group, and we will be turning 6 online on YouTube, or not YouTube and stuff, but on Discord, right? We ran Discord. I had Discord for years where it was just like 100 of us in there, less than 100 of us, just hanging out in there doing whatever. And then we came around here to, we just called it beginning of August will always be our big event. So we're going to do like a little pregame on Friday where we just kind of hang out. I don't know what we're even going to talk about that night yet, but then on Saturday we're going to kick it off at 9 a.m. my time. So looking when that is your time. And I always start off with a talk on why engineering. Why should we be engineers, and what's the topics around engineering and those kind of things. Then my brother, actually, it's funny. My brother Tommy Timodius, he's going to come in and talk data analytics. He just finished up his master's degree in data analytics. He has been doing that for an insurance company for quite a few years now, and he runs a pretty big project. He'll show you some stuff. Last year, I really thought his talk was cool. He kind of showed you guys how to pull data in and then analyze, and he was showing stuff around. He was showing you guys how to do like fantasy football. So he was doing fantasy football stuff, which I think is kind of funny because he does fantasy football and still plays it and stuff. I haven't had time for a while. We're gonna have a security expert come in. He's a guy that I've known for a few years. I actually met him in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a major in the Space Force, and he's going to talk to you guys about offensive security type things. He may do a little bit of securing Linux and Stigs, but he is also going to mainly be coming to talk to you guys about offensive operations and what that kind of looks like professionally, right? That's what he does for the U.S. military. So he'll talk a little bit about that kind of stuff that he can talk about. So he's coming in. I haven't given his name because I don't know how much he wants people to know his actual name. You'll obviously know his username, but that's kind of whatever. So Salty Catfish has been around a long time. The whole time I've known him, he's been a lead software engineer. So probably over 10 years, he's been leading teams doing software engineering. He often talks about Git and shows you guys how to use Git. He's a ham radio enthusiast. He said pro framing. I don't think he meant programming. I think that's maybe a term that he knows that I don't know. I always tell you guys, if Salty's talking, you should be listening. So he's going to be coming and talking to you guys about that. If you guys are in our Discord, all you got to do is hit that you're interested in it, and there's no charge for any of this stuff. It's just coming up. HPC talk. Enzo, I could talk HPC. I have a talk that I need to update and just give you guys on HPC, which I need to include a bunch of these other things. Let's reboot this box real quick. Make sure he comes back up. All right. And then the second day of the conference, we're going to kick it off in the morning with Leith talking about Proxmox. So he's going to be doing Terraform deployments into Proxmox and showing you guys how he does that in his lab. ControlByte is going to give you DevSecOps without the buzzwords, because there's a lot of that stuff where like it's all the cool rage now. Everybody wants to call things, DevOps, DevSecOps, DevSec, network. I mean, there's like a fucking million ways to say this, but he's just going to talk about operational activities for developers. So that should be pretty good. ControlByte's been around a long time with us too, in the group. Then we're going to have Jared come in. Jared's been he's probably talked to you guys like 6 or 7 times. And most people really like his talks because he talks about getting into data analytics, and he does like e-commerce, like bot tracking and bot squashing, but also allowing bots to come through that should. So he's kind of data analytics. He's kind of security in some ways, but really a lot of what he does and what he always kind of frames it as is he's the reason that ads follow you around on the internet. That's what he always says. He's like, I'm the reason ads follow you around on the internet. And it's correct, but he's one of these guys who, when you visit his company's webpage, he works for a pretty big they hit $1 billion last year, so I guess multi-billion now web e-commerce platform. And he talks about it all the time. He's always telling you about jobs down there in the Discord. But he's all about giving the business the information, which is very important, right? Kind of an important thing. And then Sending Grounds, who's around here somewhere. I just saw Sending Grounds in here talking to you guys. He's going to talk about turtles all the way down. That's a talk he's given quite a few times around here, and I think it's really good. And it's about designing design docs. So he does, and actually I just asked him the other day, the biggest group he's given this to at his very large Fang. He's in Fang. So if you guys know what Fang is, Fang. He is one of those guys. His talk. He is given to over 1,000 engineers. I think he said a few thousand engineers at once. That's a pretty big fucking talk if they've got that many people in there. So he gives that talk to you guys. In fact, I'm not 100% sure he originally prepared it for us, but I'm pretty sure he did, and then he kind of moved it around that way. So is this in a call? Do we have to talk? I'm new Discord. Butte Grand National, you do not have to talk in our Discord. No, you can just go hang out. Nobody's ever required to talk in our Discord if they don't want. No, you guys are always willing to just come hang out. These talks coming up are gonna be. Here's the dates and the times. Those are in my time though. One thing to note, normally I was trying to give you guys, like, this would be 11 to 12:30, and then 2 o'clock I was going to give you guys a lunch break. But for people that want to stick around and hang out with Jared, plus for certain people around the world, these times are not during your lunch time. Some of you just want to power through with all these guys. So Jared is technically over our lunch break, but I just say, let's just do it, right? Just do it. Screw it. Yeah, nobody has to talk, though. You guys are, look, if you just want to come and hang out, I mean, the average Linux engineer has no interest in talking to anybody. The average person that likes doing Linux has no interest in talking to people. So, and Sank over on the YouTube side, how's it going? We're just, I was patching my server up, and now I'm setting some stuff up over here. But then also I was just showing you guys stuff that's coming up, right? So Sending Grounds, big talks. Really good. He's got this really dialed into, you know, if you're just building a tool for yourself, it should look like this. This is what your documentation should be. If you are building it for your team, this is what you need to do. And then all the way up to getting it to production or up to production level stuff. Sank, you're trying to get good at Linux? Well, good. We try to help people do that. If people are already playing with Linux, we try to show them how to get into it as a field. To that end, we have a couple of books that are free out there on the web for you guys. You can get them in Discord. You just copy that link. Or this one, this is security engineering course focused on Linux. This is a Linux admin course on how we do systems administration for a company with Linux. So that's what these books are. Finishing this up though real quick, the last couple talks, then King Buns is going to come and talk. He's been a programming kind of like tech lead the whole time I've known him as well, and he's going to come in and talk about programming for engineers. So he's going to kind of be the end of our week or our weekend. So that's coming up again the 9th through the 10th of August, that weekend. That's when we're going to do all that. Also, I've got to find out, now that I think about it, there was a, hold on, I got to see when my wife wants me to go out of town, because that's going to suck if that's that same weekend. I might have to move my talk. Hold on. When does the wife want me to go? Hold on a second, guys. I gotta go look this up now. When is this talk? Search birthday. Shoot. All right. I can't find it. I'm going to have to ask her. All right. Quartz. Thanks for having Ubuntu. Good. Switch to Ubuntu and loving it. Good. Yeah, Sank. I try not to shame anybody on whatever they want. You can do any Linux you want. Ubuntu is accepted for government, and a lot of bigger organizations have been adopting it. So Ubuntu does have a service model, so it is, because it's got a pay for service that you can get support. Ubuntu is definitely something you can use with government as of, I want to say, like 2020. So anyways, my point is, when people ask me about what version of Linux they should use, I say use whichever one, you can, I guess, stomach, but use whichever one is going to help you get the job, right? Like, and Ubuntu is one of the ones that I think is good to use for that, in that respect, because Canonical has really come a long way from where they were even like 10 years ago, right? Because nobody used Ubuntu in the enterprise 10 years ago, and now there's a lot more of it. Zerk, do we not need Rocky for labs? You don't need Rocky for the labs. You can use Rocky for the labs. I recommend Rocky for the labs. I wrote most of the labs with Rocky in mind. But no, you don't need it. So, link for the books. It is right here. This is the first book. And here's the second book. Why do I personally recommend Rocky? Well, probably because, like, I've deployed probably about 10 or 12, somewhere between like 10 and 12, depending on how you want to count me actually working on clusters in the last year and a half now for governments, right? So I work for a company, Redline, and that's what we do. We deploy systems for the government and for other customers. And all the ones that I've deployed that are through a certain program with like Dell and some other customers that we kind of work, Dell is the provider, and then we go and build the stuff out, have been Rocky and Werewolf. Those have been the two major things that we've been using. So the question was, why do I always recommend Rocky? I've seen so many I've literally deployed 10,000 plus machines in the last year on Rocky. So I see the government using a lot of Rocky. So hey, thanks for the Prime, Mr. Boston. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We're just kind of messing around because every time I hit a wall, I'm just bouncing off and going and doing something else because I've been working all day. My ratio of work to naps was not very good today. We always joke around about how much working you do and how much napping you do. And my working, I was heavily working today on a lot of stuff, which I can't show you guys, but I was building something similar to it out here. And we're also, for some of you guys that haven't been around, we're heavily into monitoring our stuff. So knowing what the visibility is, because I tell you guys all the time, this is all you've got. Otherwise, I'm staring at a black screen and it's staring back at me, and I have all the commands and I know how to do things to see what's going on with my system. But sometimes visibility, like what's up over here, that's really useful because now I can extend out the administration and monitoring of my stuff past just me. Because the commands we can do, right? The things we could do, let's say I did this, right? We don't have set. Right? Let's get sysstat on here. We need sysstat. And then we'll do iostat real quick. So I can do this, but let's say I could show some other admin or somebody in our network operations center what's going on here. And we could, right? We could sit around and we could show somebody what's actually happening here. Right? It's not too far-fetched to say, here's the one disk we have, XVDA. That's a block device on there that is reading and writing. And transactions per second aggregate are right here. So when things are writing or not writing, they're showing up here. Here's our kilobytes per second of read and kilobytes written per second. If there's any discards, if discards start going high. But my point is, even if I explained all this to somebody, right, who's going to be sitting at a terminal like this watching that? No. What might be better is to show them something like this, and then they could be watching something like right here. And this is the same, this right here, what's happening on this line specifically right here, is what's being shown over here. Now, if you knew nothing else about these two systems, and I hadn't just talked about them a little bit, the one on the right, is that good or bad? But this one on the left, at least for the last 1 hour, we can see if there was a high load of read and write. There was a bunch of stuff that happened on this box right here during this time. That probably was when I just did all that patching, right? So I have an explanation for this. And then maybe in the, last whatever, I have some high outliers. I maybe start to see patterns over time of, hey, we have really high load on our servers on Friday afternoon. Well, we're a gaming company and everybody gets off of work and all the kids don't have homework Friday night. So, okay, that kind of makes sense. By the way, that's an AWS question. They're always asking questions about like gaming companies and stuff because they're kind of popular. So anyway, so all this to say that like we could try to, like, this is the stuff that we do, but we have to find a way to meet the business, right? and I talked about this a lot as an engineer. The stuff that I do, I have to show like work artifacts when I'm done, and I have to like show the net effect of like, okay, this is how you use it. Maybe I got to build like a user doc on something, whatever, because users want to get all over the system. But like day in and day out, like what I do as an engineer, most people don't ever have to see. They just see like the work artifacts of what I've done. But as an admin, when you're doing admin work and you're keeping the systems running, you're keeping the systems afloat, this type of stuff becomes much more kind of important. And while we can do a lot of this stuff over here, it's also nice to have these other things. Like yeah, I can see what's going on in my system, but I can see the last 7 historical days of high CPU and high memory load. And some of you might say, well, doesn't your CPU and memory spike every morning? Yes, it does. Every day right there, you see a spike, but I know that's when my antivirus is running. I run some clam scan antivirus across my environment. I just like to know that like we're pretty cleaned up. The 9 million known antivirus signatures, the 9 million known by Clam AV gets scanned every morning to make sure they're not on my systems. I think that's pretty good. That used to be a requirement for PCI, and then PCI DSS now requires it for all servers. Back in the day, it used to only be for servers that had this like ambiguous wording, and we used to try to not put it on Linux, so that was kind of funny. Anyway, so let's get this out of the way. What else do we need to put here? So for the home lab, there's a few things we need to make sure. Is Firewall D running? Yes, it is. That's good. We want that running because this is eventually going to move into... So if I do IP... This is 192.168.11.246 right now. But my primary server is 192.168.11.245. So when I'm ready, I will push my Bastion... my DMZ of my router, my external router, points to 192.168.11.245. For any traffic that comes in that's unknown, goes to this box. Well, I'm going to flip that over to 246 eventually, and then this box will become my main jump host. There's a few other things I have to do before we get there. In fact, namely, let's go back here. We need to have, so that's ls-l in var chroot. I have, just look in var. I have these ch roots right here that I've made. These are all the ones that jail users that come into our environment. The one that I really want to... I feel like I should have one. Oh, here's the... I have another one down here named prolog chroot. This is the one going forward that we're going to use. So I need to take this directory and all of its configurations and move it over to that other box. But there's things in there that are unique to this server, so I need to configure them and move stuff over and do all that. So there's quite a few things to kind of consider as you move from one server like to another. What I'll definitely do is keep this old server alive, so if there's ever functionality that's broken, I can keep pulling it over from this other server. But for security reasons, I really can't have this server out on the web too much longer. It's CentOS 7, right? That's a bit too old to just leave out there, guys. So there's that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the John McAfee stuff's kind of funny. What else do we have? We got to move that over. We got to do all that stuff. That's just going to come along as it goes. For people that want to do our courses, the courses are free. You can actually go to prolog.org and sign up for them. Well, you just click and it tells you when they're doing it again. We might do another Linux admin course in fall of 2025. I haven't decided yet. I told the guys we weren't going to do it because nobody's still doing the current one, so why do another one? But I've had quite a few people express interest. That always happens, though, and then people see how much work it is, and then they quit. And, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because it's free. But security engineering course, we're definitely going to do again one more time this year. It's only 10 weeks, so that one goes pretty quick. And that one I thought was pretty well done. I don't want to break my arm patting myself on the back, but I thought that one was pretty good. And I thought the people I think 6 people finished that one, and I think they got a lot out of it. We did everything from. I can show you guys what we did. Here's the topics. I'll leave it on the topics for you guys. Those are the actual things we did in both of the courses right there. Those are all the topics for each of the courses right there. So this is the Linux administration course, which is, interacting with Linux and maintaining it for an organization. And then this other one is the security engineering course, and this one is building out servers, connecting them to networks, letting users into them, fashioning them off and putting them in secure environments and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I thought it went really well. Again, the courses are free. All you gotta do is go hang out and show up when we're there and do all that stuff. So also, I do appreciate when you guys make clips, because then I can use, I can use those clips to something, get more people doing Linux. I don't know. I don't think it ever works out the way that I imagine it working out, but I do appreciate when you guys do clips. Especially when you guys catch me saying stuff like Mel Gibson instead of Mel Brooks. That one was pretty funny. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I was talking about Spaceballs and I said Mel Gibson instead of Mel Brooks. I had just watched Braveheart, so I guess that's kind of a thing. It was pretty funny because I was talking about Mel Brooks and how they're doing a second Spaceballs finally. And if anybody that watched the original Spaceballs movie, there's a fantastic line, maybe one of the best lines in any comedy ever. And they say, "Will we see you again, yogurt?" Because he's not yoga, or he's not Yoda, he's yogurt. And he's yogurt. And they say, "Will we see you again?" He goes, "Not in this movie, but maybe in the next one, Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money." And that's kind of one of my favorite. The search for more money. That's always so funny to me. All right, so we're tracking all that. We've got that. I've got to move this stuff over. Yeah, gotta get this stuff moved into the right setup in the right environment. Too many things to do, guys. Too many things to do. Enzo Bears, yeah, get to sleep, man. I know you're working in the data center, so that's allowed. And I think even though data centers are cool, oftentimes very cold, and you need to keep a sweater by you. People forget that like it's still like physical work, like moving stuff around in a data center. So yeah, for sure. What else do we have? Some of you guys were around. I pushed a new update to the book. So there is a prologue book, a big book of labs. All our labs are free online, right? You can go to Killer Coda. You can just go in there. You can do labs all over the place in general. But we've put together a bunch of labs. And the Ansible and Linux labs, which add up to almost 60 labs, those labs are in a book called the Prologue Big Book of Labs. And I had been making more labs, but I hadn't updated the book. And I think about 2 weeks ago, right before I went on vacation, I pushed an update of that book. And sometimes Robodom posts the book, but let me get a book over here. Yeah, there's the Pro Book of Lab. That's the only thing around here that we sell. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because it's kind of like a notepad, but I just updated it with all the other labs. So like there were a bunch of labs that I built for the security course, which are here. Again, all the labs are free. You guys don't need to buy anything to do the labs, but they're like extra notes. They're like extra things to think about. And down in here, like I built like all the fail to bandwidth monitoring and fail to bandwidth alerting, and then setting up Kafka as a message queue. All these things that are like part of our, additional things you can kind of do. Let me get this up real quick here. And here's this open image in a new tab. Here's like how Kafka can come into like an existing infrastructure, and then you can start to send messages to it. And this was part of the security engineering course. But what I'm saying is I built these labs out, and I hadn't put them in the book yet. So then I put them in the book. Cool thing about LeanPub, if anybody cares, LeanPub has this cool process where if anybody's ever bought the book, they get all the updates forever. So anybody that had bought the book, which was like, I don't know, like 400 people or something, they all got an email update about 2 weeks ago that said, hey, here's a new version of this book, go ahead and download it. And I think that's kind of cool. That's kind of a cool little process they have. The reason they did that, in case anybody's wondering, is if you were like, if you had a bunch of friends and you were going to make a book, and then you said, hey guys, I'm making this book, people can start buying it even before it's finished, and then as you put updates, you do it. There was a guy who, I think his name was like Ned in the Cloud or something. He's on YouTube, and he had a series he was doing on Vault when I was learning Vault, when I went and got my Vault associate with HashiCorp a few years back, and he had this book, and that's where I found out about Lean Pub. Was I bought his book unfinished, and as he kept publishing new chapters, I got more and more stuff out of the book, and I was like, that's pretty cool. It's a good way to study. So I thought that was kind of cool. Yadev over on YouTube, how's it going? Good morning. It is late for us here. It's almost 8. The wife's got a whole, I don't know, she's got like 16, 17 people downstairs doing cookies. I think she said cookies. They're doing something with cookies. I don't know. All I know is I had to set up 4 tables and 16 chairs down there for all them to do all their cookie. Maybe they're decorating cookies. I'm not sure or something. Yeah. Nice, Robodom. Yeah. I'm glad you got notified of the updates and stuff. So then you can go work on all that extra stuff. And I don't know. The way I look at that book is you could do the labs without the book. I tell people all the time, do all the labs. And then if you're like, hey, I think I can squeeze some more out of this, that's what the book's for. The book's like, it's got more reflection questions and like digging deeper, and it makes you think about the stuff that you're kind of doing. So, yeah, Robodom, hopefully they send me some cookies. Well, I don't need any more. I don't need any more of that crap today. I'm good. It's 4 a.m. Oh, sank. Oh, nice. Well, some of you are up late. Some of you are up early, man. Yeah, Dev. I hadn't been on for a while. I was in Mexico. I was wrestling down there, and then I was doing Chichen Itza. So if you guys have ever seen Chichen Itza, that's a wild little. It's a pyramid. It's a bunch of pyramids all over down in Mexico from the Mayans and the Aztecs and the different people in that area and stuff. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, Sank. Hopefully this stuff. Yeah, I hope this stuff's valuable to you guys. I'm not even doing like just straight Linux right now. I'm just kind of talking and hanging out. But yeah, this stuff is supposed to be hopefully somewhat valuable to you guys. Let's go over here. Let's see. Let's see what's here. Yeah, there's like nothing going on in here. Nothing going on. And I'll show you guys something I show you guys some pretty often. But I can cat that out, and then I can throw it through an awk with a colon, right? So I can use my field delimiter of colon, and I can say only show me, whoops, $7. So, and I can use NF if I really want to. Whoops, NF, like that. And I'll use 7 because that makes more sense in this case. And then sort, and then unique -C. And these are all the things. So if I wanted to know how many users can log in on this system, it's 2. And if I wanted to see them, I can just grep bash from grep bash from etc bash wd, and there's the 2 people that can log in, root and S Champagne. And then you say, well, but I thought you said Scott, like I thought you said root couldn't log in remotely. Well, they shouldn't be able to. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure right here. Prohibit password. I should just set this to. No, right? I thought I had that set to no, but apparently not for the initial setup. When I go to put this out on the world, that'll definitely be there. Oh, I have to put, so that's another thing I have to set up here. P01 Jumbo 2 needs to be, let's restart SSHD. And what else do we need here? We need our Telegraph configuration, because we need to send Telegraph information over. We need fail to ban on here, so let's get fail to ban. Let's see if fail to ban is on here or not. DNF install failed to ban. So if failed to ban's not there, let's search all for failed to ban. Nothing. So DNF install epel. Let's see if we have epel on here. I'm pretty sure I don't have epel. So this will give me failed to ban will be out there in the extra packages for Enterprise Linux, which again is just another way of saying the fun stuff. So real quick, on a more serious note, extra packages for Enterprise Linux are all the fun stuff, but it's also the things that aren't supported by your actual. So I was saying this in the security engineering course. Can you put stuff from there on production systems? Sure, but don't be asking your vendor for support on it, because they're not. They're just going to tell you shouldn't have built a critical chain or a critical path of system stuff that involves extra packages for Enterprise Linux, because we don't support it. It's an important thing to think about. Apparently we're on ad break too, if that's right. Court said, random question, is there anything different about the Gracie BJJ? There's a gym nearby compared to the other local gyms. Yeah. Quartz, hopefully you're here still. Let me know if you're still here, and then I'll talk about that. Search all, failed to ban. We're going to find it now. Wait till you guys get back. So. Oh, you're still here, Quartz? Good, because you got a little subscriber badge. Yeah. So, the thing about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right, is you definitely want to go. If you're going to start it, right, I would definitely go try the gym out first and make sure that it's kind of, something you can do. Make sure that, like, most classes will have like a week for you to go try. And I would tell you try it a lot, because if you're going to love it or hate it, you're probably going to know it pretty quick. But also, you want to see kind of like the atmosphere. A lot of gyms have a lot of different atmospheres. I've been in MMA gyms. I've been in just straight Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms. I've been in wrestling gyms that do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on the side. So, like, I've been in a lot of these different types of gyms, and you really have to find what your focus is, Quartz, you got to find out. I mean, some people when you first start out, you're probably going to be in a gi no matter what. But as you go, you're going to find out, like, if you like gi or no gi more. And then there's going to be decisions around, like, do I want to go be like a 10th Planet guy who does 10th Planet? There's nothing wrong with them. It's just that they are almost exclusively no gi, which is just wrestling, basically, right? Submission wrestling. But if you're like me, the gym that I go to, we're 98% in a gi. In fact, there's only one night a week that you can do no gi if you want. It's called 10 Round Tuesday. They don't even teach. You just go and do that. Yeah, so Quartz, I would tell you 10th Planet for sure will give you a 1 week trial. Like, you just go in, you try it, you do whatever. I would 100% tell you to do that. And I would tell you to look at a few gyms before you pick one, because here's the thing. Once you sign up with a gym, you're probably going to be in a contract. You're probably going to... You want to make sure that you're not signing up for something that you're not going to like in the long term, if that kind of makes sense. I know there's a lot of things that you can't tell in the first week, but what you can tell is, like, how clean a place is. If people are walking in and out of there with ringworm and staph all over them, like staph infections, you don't want to go there. Are they cleaning the mats after? Like, watch them clean the mats after, right? And at my gym, we all like clean the mats when we're done, right? Like, it's pretty quick, pretty fast. Not all gyms do that. Some people are like, oh, I'm paying, I ain't cleaning. Well, all right, I pay and I also teach. So it's like, I've been doing, for guys that don't know, I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for over 22 years now. So, like, I'm pretty okay. I'm the most okayest black belt I know, right? So anyway, all right. So look, we found failed to ban. We haven't installed it yet, but we found it. We need to set it up on the system so we can get that part of the monitoring going as well. But we do need to get all the monitoring on this before we move it in place so that we can use it for our stuff. Yeah, so anyways, Robedom, there can absolutely be staph infections. That's one of the most common things that, like, some of the bigger gyms, yeah. So, like, what my gym does is we have a leaf blower. We blow the mats off, then we spray it down. We have a guy with one of those backpack sprayers, like for weeds, spraying down, like, antimicrobial and anti-whatever, and then somebody else is coming behind them, like, wiping that into the mats. And then that's just after each class. And then every day they also clean it at the night with mops and stuff. So, yeah, Robodom, staph infections are terrible, man. I've seen some pretty bad ones. But all right. So let's install this real quick. DNF install fail to ban. Right. Boom. Make sure that that works. Oh, fail to ban also works with Firewall D. I did not know that, so we're going to be playing with that a little bit. That would be kind of fun to mess with. Yes. Let's get that kind of going. Yeah, Quartz, definitely check them out. Look at a few different places. See how the instructor talks to people. See how they run their class. Look, another thing that happens, and it's funny, the longer people are in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the more drama there is. But let me tell you this. Some adults do not like being told what to do. Some adults love being told what to do. And if you don't know that about yourself, you probably weren't in the military. I don't know if you were or not, Quartz, but I'm going to tell you, people that were in the military know whether or not they like being yelled at by other people, right? Because they were in the military and they definitely got yelled at by people. Where I'm going with that is, some people are like, fuck that, I'm paying for a class, I'll show up 30 minutes late. But some instructors aren't going to have that. Some instructors don't care what people do. And then, but you're going to find, like, the more the gym goes towards competitions and stuff, the more that structure and rigidness of like being there on time and doing the warm-ups and those kind of things are. So it's like there's like this weird thing where like some people are like, I'm never going to go listen to anybody. I'm never going to listen to a coach. And it's like, well, and you're never going to be a world champion either, right? Because like all the world champions in judo or boxing or any of these other things listen to their effing coach. Even if they're like wild cards, they still have to listen to their coach, right? So where I'm going with that is you got to look at the school. You got to look at what you want to do there. And for people that came in later and like, what the hell is this guy talking about? We were talking about jiu-jitsu gyms and like the differences in like the coaching styles. And I honestly would try to get there a little early and look at how they run the kids class. If they just have like people that don't really care and there's no real structure to the kids class, might be indicative of what you maybe don't want for yourself, because that's probably going to be how they run all the classes. So anyways, my thing is I would just say, oh, and by the way, like kids classes always run right up to the adult classes, so you can just go in a few minutes early and watch that. So it's not like you're showing up 3 hours earlier and creeping. It's just you're going in there as the kids are leaving, so you'll see that kind of behavior. Also, big kids classes tend to be colleges, schools that have been there a long time, not colleges, right? But all right. So failed to ban, system, CTL status, fail to ban. Shouldn't turn itself on. Good. Let's CD to Etsy, fail to ban, and let's go look in here at our jail.conf. So in our jail.conf, some of you might wonder, Scott, why don't you just set it to background dark all the time? I don't mind it dark. But for you guys, I know that that's really hard to see sometimes. But let's set this up right here. I can set the SSHD up here, or there's another one down here too. So I can actually do my SSHD down here. Port for SSH right here. It's going to map out of our Etsy services file. So if I were to change my SSH port, then it would change there. But this is port 22 by default. I can come in here and I can set some of these values if I wanted to. Oh, SE Linux also, we can set up how SE Linux works. Looks like that's all set. Let's say that this is the default thing that I kind of want for like maybe my generic system. And what I probably want is some timing. So I have some timing values that I like to use, but I'm going to modify them. I have them over here because this is where I wrote the lab. And I always forget things, so I got to go reference where I wrote it before. Forget the ban. All right, so we could do enable true, max retry, and then ban time is actually going to be forever. All right, let's copy these. Actually, we don't even need to copy them. We can just look at them. Where's that? I'm just going to drop it here. And find time equals, let's go 10 as well, that's fine. And ban time can be in hours or seconds, and I think you can also use days, but let's go ahead and just do that for now. start. See if it starts. All right. So now, because we have that, let's make a user that we can get to ban real quick. So let's go with let's make a user Scott on here real quick. Okay. Password Scott, and we'll give him password something easy to remember. Okay, some easy password, right? We're gonna come over to okay, gonna come over here to hostbox. We're gonna use hostbox to jump over there. So if we get banned out, we don't have to go in through the console. Because if I get banned via IP from the main jump box, then I can't get back in without going through a different route, right? So we're just gonna bypass that. Okay. Yep. And bad password. Bad password. Good password. Let's get out. Bad password. Bad password. Bad password. Probably disconnected forever. Let's see. Well, let's see if it bans out. Because it should ban me out. Forever. I'm just putting in bullshit. This doesn't bode well, but it's still letting me. So, let's come back over here. I think... I don't think we have it enabled. Get ourselves kicked out forever. Come on. Let's do it. Kicked out forever. This isn't boding well for the way that we normally see this work. I'm just putting in bullshit passwords, by the way. Okay. So we see it, it's hitting the filter, but we don't see find time 10, ban time 600. Ban time should be forever. Max retry 5. That's all. Huh. Why is this? It's finding it each time, but it's not banning it. So that's interesting. I've not run. I hear everybody leaving. If I could type. We're gonna change this up. We're gonna try. I changed up the way I normally configure this to see if it would work the way, but I'm gonna try this my normal way. All right. This is the way I normally configure this. Let's try this. Let's go, we want days, so I think we can do that, but I've never tried that. So let's restart the service, see if it fails. Didn't fail. Let's see status. It's good, okay. Let's go tail-f on var log fail to ban. Okay. Ban time. I love it. Alright, doesn't matter. Did we see it? Those are not going in there. Let's restart SSHD just for fun. Shouldn't matter. We are not seeing. We're not seeing it. So that's a real user, and he's really trying to get in. We're not seeing him hit the fail to ban filter. We're seeing him here. So in for log secure, we're seeing him here. Password check failed for the user. We're seeing authentication failures. We're seeing him try to come in. But he's not hitting. We're just making stuff up as we go. He's failing there. Oh, well. Huh. Huh. Well, this could be it. SE Linux running. In fact, let's do this. Var log. Do we see he's definitely failing to get in, but is so fail to ban is probably fair enough. So because we're running this with SE Linux, there's got to be some other fail to ban. So we might need to take like see if it tells us anything. I might not be doing that right. I might have to cat that through it or something. Is that right? he definitely doesn't have permissions. Oh shoot, I need to remember how to use this tool because I don't use it very often. So, we go to the Googles. Here's the Googles. See what the Google's telling us. Go look at the usage real quick. Somebody's got a good little write-up on how they use it. So you got that. Yeah, so you grep whatever you're looking for out of there and it'll tell you what you need to do. Typically, so that's exactly what I was doing, was grepping my message, right? So it didn't, yeah, and then I throw that through audit to Y. And it doesn't see anything to do. It's definitely doesn't make any sense because there's definitely messages in here about oh, you know what? Actually, let's try this one. SSH. Nothing to do there either. All right. Well, what we're gonna see. Is there a way to whitelist you? Not that I know of, Quartz. If you turn this on, you're basically going like hard, like unthinking hard system. Yeah, I don't know of any way to whitelist a user. No. I don't know of any. There probably are ways. Well, let me... Not without doing something different that I know of. So what I would think would be, well, I can have as many SSH processes as I wanted, and I could have a separate SSH process for like the, let's say the VIPs, but then it would be the same problem because other people could bang on that door anyways. So I don't know. Like I can't think of a good way unless somebody's got it written up somewhere. All right, now hold on. So now we just did a very bad thing. We turned it off for no reason other than to say, well, does it now work? Also, I could have sworn I saw things going in there before. I'm pretty sure I actually did. Is it possible? Yeah, so there's something, no, there's something else going on. It's not, so it's not that. I think I messed something. I have to have something wrong here. Where's my, that? SHD. Can be there. This HD is apparently covered like that forever. Enabled equals true. We have that. I didn't spell that wrong that I can think of. Ban time is 365 days. It looks like it's parsing all that. Find time is 10. I mean, I don't think that's 10 seconds. Maybe we set that up to like 600. I don't know. But they should be showing up each time, so this doesn't make sense either. Create new jail. SHD. Database should be good. I mean, all that stuff looks like what I would expect. But We definitely were finding them earlier. It just wasn't banning them. Max retry. 5. Find time was 10. Ban time was, we say 600. Let's just do 4 hours. I wonder. Let's get rid of both of these just to make sure that there's no conflict here, because we are using SE Linux now. So just for fun. Okay. Ban time is more down. Yeah, that looks more right. Okay. Still not seeing them. I have to have something else going on that I don't. It doesn't make any sense because we had it. It was working. It was finding things. It wasn't working, so that's why we changed things. But we were finding the things, and they weren't getting banned out. All right, I'll look this. I'll figure this out, and I'll try to. I don't know. Try to write something up in the Discord because this is an interesting one, and I am using SE Linux on what is this? Rocky 9. So I'm not. Let's see. Right? Yeah, we're on 9.6. So. I'll figure it out and I'll write something up in the Discord for people that are interested. But I hear the wife's people winding down out there, so we'll probably go to our little end of stream, and I will probably be done. Oh, that's funny. Did I never pop back up on stream, guys? Have I literally been sitting here just like hanging out with you guys and not been on stream? I apologize, guys. I thought I had not transitioned with my camera back on for what, like the last hour or something? Jeez. I've been sitting here talking with my hands and pointing at stuff, and oh well. Somebody just got started. Gil, you got started with Linux about 3 weeks ago. It's been challenging, but it feels good. Nice. Well, Gil, I would tell you go get into it every day. Keep messing with it. Hopefully, you can find work in that space. If you need help with that, come hang out with our Linux group down in our Discord. It's down in the description on the Killer Code or on the YouTube side of things. You guys are always welcome to hang out down there. I will see some of you guys later on this week. I've got a lot of work to do, but I should be on. For sure, I'll be on Friday afternoon like I usually am. And for sure, we'll be doing stuff all this weekend. So I will see you guys later.